So Ashwell, last season it was quite inspiring to see you guys perform like that. What positives would you take out of that season?
Well, I think there's quite a few positives. I think we obviously qualified for two of the semi-finals in the white ball competitions. In the last round of Sunfoil Series fixtures, we went into the last fixture only 1 point behind the leaders at the time, which was the Warriors. Unfortunately, we didn't get over the line in any of those competitions, but I think it was sort of the birth of a lot of young players. Zubair Ramza had a great season. Peter Malan had a great season. Mtiwe Kaya Nabe had a great season in the white ball formats. Kyle Verreynne had a good season, and a lot of them have been rewarded with call-ups to the SA team. So those are the positives. Obviously, the fact that we didn't get over the line in any of the competition, is a little bit disappointing. But we're hoping to do one better this year.
Yeah, since your appointment, we've seen a lot of fight in the players. I mean, is that largely due to your philosophy? And what is your philosophy with regards to coaching the side?
Yeah, look, I mean that could be quite a lengthy explanation. But I mean, I think at the end of the day, whoever you go up against, whether personally, when you're preparing for a match, you think it's good opposition, or whether you think it's not so good opposition, anybody can beat you. You know what I'm saying? And for me, players need to understand that on the day anybody can beat you, and therefore you have no right to win any match. You have to fight for everything that you want. So if you want to win, you got to fight. Maybe it's born out of that. That you have no right to win any match that you're walking out onto the pitch for. You have no right as a batsman to go just walk out and think you're going to score runs. You got to work for it. You got to fight for it, and that's more or less our mantra.
And we've seen that it's quite a well-balanced side between youth and experience. When it comes to the youngsters actually stepped up for you last season. How do you suggest that they keep their form and keep maintaining? And what do you look for in a youngster when you decide to pick him?
Well, I think we look at character first and foremost. For me, that is the biggest thing. What type of characters do we have? In terms of our recruitment as well, we look at the characters of people who are not afraid for the fight. I think it's a type of game, cricket, where it's a very complex sport. And then you can have good days and bad days, and you can have people who seek out the nice opportunities to perform, or you can have people out there who, regardless of the situation or the conditions or whatever, they're up for the fight. So those are the type of characters that you're trying to identify, and that's what we sort of trying to do in our recruitment as well. So it's for me, it's about creating champion people regardless of whatever the situations are.
And have you spoken to some of the other franchise coaches and in the past, like for example Mark Boucher and maybe some of the other coaches that have made finals as well last season, and spoken to them about what their difficulties was during the season?
No, not really. I think as coaches we probably tend to keep our cards close to our chest. I mean, at the end of the day we are competing against each other. For me, it's all about, restoring the Cobras to where they were 4 or 5 years ago. You know what I'm saying? So that's my job. The people of the Cape, obviously, throughout, there's been a history here. Even if you go back 10 or so years ago when I played here, there's a history of winning, and there's a history of expectation, and that's, I suppose that's why I think some of our young players are stepping up, because they realize that, that's what the Cobras are about. That's what Western Province was about, if we have to go back before the franchise system. So there's history, and there's this expectation, and maybe sometimes there's more expectation here than other places around the country, and like Sir Alex Ferguson said about Man United, and I'm a Liverpool fan, so it hurts me to say that, but he basically said, if to play for Man United, if you don't have belief in your ability, if you don't have conviction in your ability, then you probably won't make it. And I think, with respect to other teams, I think Cobra's expectations are quite high, and to make it here, you sort of, you have to deliver the goods.
Yeah. So, like Alex Ferguson, is it the treble for you this season? Is that what you are? Is that what you are going for?
No, look, absolutely. A long way away from that. You have to take one step at a time. Of course, last year we only made the semi-finals. I guess this year getting to the finals will be one step better, but that would hurt as well if we didn't win the final. So we're looking to improve on last year, and I do believe we have the squad to do so.
Cool. And with regards to the newbies in the side that have come in, obviously Yanaman Malan is one of them. How will he inspire your team? And also the youngsters from last season that have performed, Calvarena and Zubair Hamza. What are their importance in the side? And also I want to ask you about Jason Smith and his attitude. Has he had a difference in attitude this season so far? Have you seen that in him?
Well, if we can start with Jason, and I just want to say that the question might come across as if there's an attitude problem, which certainly is not. Okay. Jason is a laid-back individual, and that might sort of appear to other people out there or fans that he's not committed to the course. I can quite categorically say that that's not the case. Yeah. He's a laid-back individual. He's got his own sort of way that he goes about things, and he knows what works for him. And I suppose he's also still finding out what works for him. He's only young, and I'm sure that the best is still to come from Jason Smith. And then, the other names that you mentioned is people like Calvarena, Zubair Hamza, Peter Malan, Yanaman Malan. Look, there's a whole host of young players, of names that I believe we have at least half a dozen, if not more than half a dozen, who can go on and represent the Proteas. We haven't even talked about George Linde. I think it is absolutely unbelievable for me that George Linde wasn't in the SAA squad in the winter. If we just look at his performances in white ball cricket last season for the Cobras with both bat and ball in hand, I remember when I was a national selector 3 years ago or so, we were talking about the national team needing spin bowlers who can bat towards the end of an innings. Here we've unearthed the guy, and he can actually clear the boundary as well, probably any boundary in the world, and then he has a good season and is overlooked for the SAA team. So that's another player who I think can go all the way. So, like I said, I really do believe we have at least half a dozen players who can go on and represent the Proteas.
Okay, and lastly, JP Duminy, he's been selected as the white ball captain. But what has happened is that obviously it's time for the Proteas. He might not play as many games for the Cobras because of Proteas duty. How do you fill a void like that in your side? A leader like JP?
Well, you don't. You can't. It's some people are just. They leave a big hole,
yeah.
And that's what it is. I mean, in terms of experience in the middle, in terms of his leadership, in terms of what he brings to the team in the dressing room, it leaves a big hole. But I tend to look at it from a young player's point of view. When I was a young player back in the day, when you had the Kirstens and sort of Brian McMillans and those guys going away and representing the national team. It gave you an opportunity to make a name for yourself and to step up, and whether that be in leadership, whether that be in runs on the board, whatever that opportunity is, that's exactly what it is. It's an opportunity for young players to stake a claim.
Thank you very much.
Okay, you're welcome.